What if I told you that your body has been speaking to you all along, but you've never truly learned its language? Think about it for a moment. Have you ever felt that subtle sense that your body is trying to tell you something, yet the message seems just out of reach? Has this ever happened to you, when a sensation, a sudden discomfort, or even an unexplained surge of energy left you wondering if there was more at play than biology alone? Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover might surprise you, and it may completely change the way you look at your own body. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. This message, this book, this moment, it is not a coincidence. There is a reason these words are reaching you right now. Deep inside, you may have sensed it. Your body is not a collection of random systems running on autopilot. No, it is a vessel of profound wisdom, an intricate temple where intelligence flows silently through every cell, every tissue, every organ. Behind the apparent order of your physical structure lies a secret intelligence waiting to be understood, one that listens carefully and responds faithfully to the commands you give it every single day. Think about this. Every heartbeat, every breath, every spark of energy that flows through you is not mechanical. It is relational. Your organs are not mute. They are responsive companions, each one holding a voice of its own. Your skin, your lungs, your liver, even your bones. Everything within you is constantly in dialogue, longing to communicate with the consciousness that inhabits this extraordinary body. And that consciousness is you. Perhaps you've been searching for answers in external places, treatments, therapies, quick fixes that promise relief, but rarely offer true transformation. You may have found temporary solutions, yet deep down, you know the truth. To heal is not just to patch symptoms, but to understand the cause, the unspoken story behind every sensation of pain, every blockage, every imbalance. Your biology is not silent. It is speaking, sometimes in whispers, sometimes in shouts, and it is time to finally learn to listen. Have you ever wondered why some words empower you while others drain your energy? Why certain thoughts seem to leave you heavy and fatigued, while others make you feel alive and renewed? Science is slowly catching up to what ancient wisdom has known for centuries, that your words, your thoughts, and even your beliefs carry vibrations that imprint themselves into your very cells. Each phrase, each inner dialogue, becomes an instruction, and your body obeys without hesitation. Imagine it. Your heart responds to love, your liver to peace, your lungs to freedom. Every organ resonates with a frequency, and the way you think, speak, and feel can either harmonize or disrupt that symphony. When you affirm life, when you choose words of strength, your cells respond as loyal workers, building health, restoring balance, and radiating vitality. But when you fall into patterns of complaint, resentment, or fear, your body does not resist, it obeys. This is why learning the secret language of your cells may be the most important discovery you'll ever make. And here's the powerful truth. You already hold the authority. Within you lies a spiritual directive capable of guiding your entire biology into alignment, harmony, and renewal. Every time you speak with awareness, every time you choose thoughts of clarity and intention, you are programming the living library of your body. Your DNA, far from being a rigid blueprint, is open, receptive, and ready to be rewritten by your consciousness. So let me ask you, what story are you writing in your body right now? What instructions are you giving, knowingly or unknowingly, with each thought, each phrase, each belief you hold? Close? Because your body is listening, and the moment you recognize this truth, everything changes. Stay with me, because in the next part, we will begin to explore how this dialogue unfolds, not as abstract theory, but as a living practice where your words become the sculptor of your reality, carving vitality, health, and renewal into every fiber of your being. If insights like this resonate with you, consider subscribing so you don't miss the next step of this journey. Pain is often treated like an enemy to silence, something to hide beneath pills, distractions, or quick remedies. But what if pain is not the problem itself, but rather the messenger? Think about it. Every ache, every discomfort, Every sudden tension might be a coded message from your body, a signal pointing you toward a deeper truth. Healing, in this sense, cannot stop at the surface. It is not about placing a bandage on symptoms. It is about learning to read the language of your cells and understanding why your body is speaking in the first place. That is where real transformation begins. When we approach life with the mindset that the body is only a machine, we strip it of its true intelligence. But once we realize that behind every sensation, there is a consciousness working, a design that responds directly to our inner dialogue, everything changes. You begin to see that wellness is not random luck, nor the result of external factors alone. It is the impact of decisions made in the invisible realm of thought and emotion. Your biology listens, and it follows instructions with a loyalty that is almost shocking. This hidden truth can be unsettling at first. If your words and beliefs hold such power, then you are not a passive victim of circumstance, but the director of your own inner orchestra. Inside you lies a force that can guide your organs, harmonize your hormones, awaken your immune system, and restore balance to every cell. And this force is not outside, waiting to be granted. It is within, waiting to be claimed. Imagine, for a moment, your body as a city. Every organ is a district, every cell a worker, and your mind is the council giving orders. If the orders are confused, contradictory, or filled with fear, chaos spreads through the streets. But if the orders are clear, steady, and rooted in vision, the entire city functions with harmony, growth, and renewal. This is not poetry. It is biology woven with spirit. You are the architect, the strategist behind the scenes, holding the ability to decide what kind of city your body becomes. Now I want to go even deeper into this topic, because this authority you carry is not abstract. It is practical, measurable, and incredibly precise. Science has already shown that thoughts influence chemistry, that emotions shape hormonal releases, that mindset alters even the expression of genes. And behind these scientific revelations lies a spiritual principle that has been whispered for centuries. The body obeys the spirit. When you speak with conviction, when you believe with intensity, your cells register that vibration as truth and follow its command. Think of the impact this realization has on your daily life. Every time you declare, "I am exhausted," your body responds by lowering its energy output. Every time you whisper, "I am renewed," your nervous system begins to adjust to that rhythm. The subconscious does not argue, it accepts. It is a loyal servant to the authority of your word. And this is why the power to guide your biology consciously is the most valuable discovery you can make on your journey. So, let me leave you with a small exercise of awareness. Observe the words you use about yourself today, about your health, your energy, your body. Ask yourself whether they build harmony or conflict, and if you want to make this reflection more powerful, write in the comments, "This makes sense to me," because the very act of affirming it begins to open the dialogue your body has been waiting for. Every thought you hold, every word you pronounce, moves silently into the depths of your body, like an order carried straight to the very fabric of your being. It's easy to think of language as something abstract, something that disappears the moment the sound fades, but the hidden truth is that your words don't vanish. They leave imprints. They travel through your nervous system, ripple across your emotions, and arrive at your cells like directives from a higher command. Your biology listens with astonishing loyalty, following instructions as though your voice were the law it was built to obey. When you say, "I can't," your body organizes itself around limitation. When you declare, "I am strong," your body adjusts to the vibration of strength. This isn't metaphor. It's the behind-the-scenes reality of how spirit shapes matter. The impact of this awareness is profound. Imagine for a moment that your DNA is not a locked book written long before you were born, but a living manuscript that responds every day to the ink of your beliefs. Every affirmation becomes a new sentence, every repeated phrase a chapter, and over time, your entire life story is recorded at the cellular level. The mindset you choose does not just color your perception, it edits your biology. That means you are not doomed by family history, past traumas, or old patterns, unless you allow those scripts to remain unquestioned. You are the author, and your body is the page. This opens a door to transformation that many overlook. How many times have you repeated to yourself words of fatigue, of lack, of discouragement, without realizing you were signing them into your genetic diary? And how many opportunities for renewal have been missed simply because you never claimed the right words to redirect your biology? Science now confirms what ancient wisdom preserved. DNA is not a rigid prison. It is a responsive system, waiting for your instructions, receptive to the blueprint you decide to project. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because when you realize the authority you carry over your DNA, your entire journey through life begins to shift. Think of your genetic code as a library filled with infinite possibilities. Some books are already open and active: your habits, your tendencies, the patterns you inherited. Others remain closed, dormant, waiting for a signal strong enough to awaken them. And that signal comes from thought infused with conviction, from words spoken with certainty, from images envisioned with intensity. Behind the scenes, your subconscious mind is the librarian, deciding which shelves to pull from, which information to bring forward. And every day, whether you are aware of it or not, you are giving it orders. The revelation here is liberating. You don't have to beg life for change. You instruct life through your inner language. Your cells are not passive spectators. They are obedient builders, tirelessly shaping the architecture of your health, your energy, your vitality. But the quality of their work depends on the clarity of your direction. Confusion in thought breeds confusion in biology. Harmony in thought breeds harmony in biology. That is why choosing your words carefully is not a poetic exercise. It is a decision with measurable consequences. And perhaps the most powerful part of this journey is realizing that your DNA responds not just to isolated words, but to the emotional frequency behind them. Saying, "I am healthy," without conviction is like whispering into the wind, but declaring it with presence and certainty plants it deep into the subconscious field where transformation begins. It is here, in the union of belief and language, that the true rewriting of your inner book takes place. So as you reflect on this, pay attention to the words you have been unconsciously engraving into your body. Notice the stories you repeat daily, and ask yourself if they build or dismantle your vitality. And if this resonates with you, put down in the comments, "I'm also on this path," because acknowledging it is the first step toward reclaiming the authorship of your own biology. Subscribe, and let's keep walking together through these hidden truths that can transform the way we see life. A scar is often seen as a flaw, a reminder of pain, or a mark we wish would disappear. Yet, what if the hidden truth is that scars are not signs of imperfection, but doorways? Each one carries the memory of an experience, a chapter of the journey that shaped who you are today. Rather than a closed wound, a scar is a portal that can be reopened, not to relive suffering, but to release it, to transform it into strength, wisdom, and renewal. The body does not merely seal tissue when it heals. It also stores energy, emotion, and memory. And within that memory lies the potential for profound transformation if you are willing to engage in dialogue with it. When you look at a scar, whether on the surface of your skin or deeper within your emotional body, you are not simply seeing damage. You are seeing a conversation waiting to happen. Every mark is like a note left behind, asking to be acknowledged and spoken to with new words, new images, new authority. What has been carried as shame or rejection can, with the right mindset, become a symbol of resilience. This shift in perception is not cosmetic, it is cellular. It is the body responding to the story you choose to tell about that scar. This is why engaging in dialogue with your cells is so vital. By addressing them with respect, with authority, and with clarity, you restore power where it has been lost. You remind your body that it is not broken. It is responsive. Imagine placing your hand over an old scar and speaking directly to it. You are renewed. You are alive. You are light. At first, it may feel unusual, even abstract, but behind the scenes, something extraordinary begins to happen. Your cells, always listening, begin to reorganize according to the vibration of your words. Tissue that once felt heavy begins to soften. Pain that lingered without cause starts to dissolve, and energy that was frozen in time begins to move again. The impact of this practice is not only physical, but spiritual. When you choose to communicate with your body instead of criticizing it, you reclaim inner authority. You stop being a passive observer of your biology and step into the role of director. And in that position, every word becomes a decision, every affirmation a design, every declaration a blueprint for renewal. This intimate dialogue brings vitality back to the places within you that had been silenced. It is not just about healing, it is about remembering your power. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because scars are only one example of how the body keeps records of the past. The truth is that every organ, every system, every layer of your being has a voice, a resonance, a language of its own. To understand this is to enter a new phase of the journey, where transformation is no longer abstract but tangible. When you speak, your body answers. When you decide to bless instead of curse, to affirm instead of doubt, to guide instead of neglect, you begin to see that life itself bends toward harmony. So the next time you notice a scar, a mark, or even a sensation that seems resistant, pause and see it differently. Ask yourself not only what it represents, but what it is inviting you to rewrite. And if this perspective resonates with you, write in the comments, "I am ready to heal from within." That simple affirmation may be the first key that opens the dialogue your body has been waiting for. If everything in existence begins with vibration, then the spoken word is not just sound, it is creation itself. The ancient texts were not exaggerating when they declared, "In the beginning was the Word." That phrase was never meant to be poetic metaphor alone. It was pointing to a law that has been shaping reality since the first pulse of the universe. Sound, thought, and vibration weave the patterns of matter, and your body is no exception. Every time you open your mouth, every time you form an inner phrase, you are activating currents that reach the smallest building blocks of who you are. Speech is not casual. It is a force that sculpts, chisels, and defines. Atoms and cells do not respond randomly, as if tossed about by fate. They are attentive, sensitive, and tuned in to the frequency of your inner dialogue. Picture it this way: your thoughts are like invisible musicians, and your words are the notes they play. The molecules within you dance to this hidden symphony, aligning themselves with the melody you sustain most often. A thought of fear sends one vibration, constricting, heavy, lowering the rhythm of life. A thought of strength and clarity releases another, opening pathways, harmonizing processes, and igniting energy. Behind the scenes, your biology is adjusting itself to the score. You are conducting with your consciousness. This revelation changes everything. It means that health, vitality, and balance are not foreign gifts to be begged for, but responses to the signals you continually broadcast. Your body is an orchestra of billions of instruments, each waiting for your cue. The hidden truth is that most people direct this orchestra unconsciously, repeating patterns of negativity without realizing they are composing chaos. But once you become aware, once you recognize the impact of each word, you can step into the role of conscious conductor. Transformation begins the moment you choose a new rhythm, a new script, a new declaration. Think of the decisions you make every day, not just in action, but in thought. Each "I can't," "I'm tired," or "I'm broken" reverberates through your cells, shaping proteins, hormones, and neural pathways. Each "I am strong," "I am aligned," or "I am whole" imprints a different architecture, one that supports growth and renewal. This is not superstition. It is the physics of vibration meeting the biology of obedience. When you shift the dialogue within, you change the environment your cells inhabit, and they respond accordingly. Now I want to go even deeper into this topic, because if vibration and speech are truly the architects of matter, then learning to harness them with precision is one of the most powerful skills you can ever develop. It means you are not just reacting to life, you are programming it at its most fundamental level. Just as a sculptor takes a block of stone and carves form into it with careful strikes, you carve your reality with every word you release. The stone does not resist, it yields to the hand that directs it. In the same way, Your body yields to the words you sustain with conviction. This awareness is both a responsibility and an opportunity. It places you in direct contact with the creative principle, reminding you that nothing about your state of being is fixed. Every breath is a chance to pronounce life. Every thought, a chance to reprogram the atoms that make up your existence. And if you've ever doubted that words could carry such weight, consider how a single sentence has the power to break someone or to heal them, to close a door or to open one. If words can shift the trajectory of a human heart, why wouldn't they also shift the course of your cells? So as you reflect on this, I invite you to notice the phrases that echo most often in your mind. Which ones are you allowing to define the blueprint of your being? And if this resonates, write in the comments, "My words create my reality." Let that be the first conscious imprint you place today on the canvas of your biology. If you could open a microscope powerful enough to read not just the chemical sequence of your DNA, but the energetic inscriptions imprinted upon it, you would discover something astonishing. Your life story written in strands of light. Every helix, every sequence, is more than biology. It is language. Your DNA is not a static code. It is sacred scripture, a manuscript continuously rewritten by what you believe to be true. Each affirmation you repeat, each thought you nurture, each conviction you hold, becomes a phrase recorded in this living book. And just like words etched onto a page, once repeated, they form chapters that define how your body functions, how you perceive reality, and how you journey through life. Science is only now beginning to catch up to this revelation. In experiments once dismissed as fringe, matter has been shown to respond to the presence of focused intention. Atoms themselves, those invisible particles that form the foundation of all things, shift according to thought. Behind the scenes, researchers observed that electrons adjusted their paths when conscious attention was applied, as if awareness itself were part of the equation of existence. This aligns with ancient wisdom, which for centuries declared that consciousness is not a byproduct of matter but its architect. What mystics and sages described as divine truth now echoes in the language of quantum physics. Reality is pliable, molded by awareness. If this perspective is opening something new inside you, subscribing ensures you'll always have access to more reflections like this one. The impact of this understanding is immense. If your DNA is sacred text and your mind holds the pen, then every decision you make in thought and word has consequences that reach far beyond psychology. It reaches into biology. This means transformation is not merely metaphorical, but literal. You can imprint codes of renewal where patterns of limitation once lived. You can awaken dormant sequences, like unopened chapters, by speaking life into them with conviction. It is no longer about hoping for change from outside circumstances. It is about claiming your role as author of the hidden truth already written within you. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because what this truly reveals is that your relationship with your body is not passive. It is a dialogue of creation. Imagine holding a conversation with your DNA, not as something foreign or mechanical, but as a conscious partner waiting for direction. When you declare, "I am whole," that phrase is not lost in the air. It becomes encoded, inscribed like a divine command. And when you repeat it with consistency, you reinforce it, carving it into the architecture of your being until your body responds. It is not suggestion, it is instruction. This is why words spoken without belief often dissolve, while those charged with emotion become reality. It is the emotional resonance, the vibration of certainty, that impresses itself into the cellular memory. Think of it as ink made of frequency. Only when the ink is rich with conviction does it truly mark the page. Your affirmations are most powerful when they are infused with presence, when they are spoken not as wishes but as decrees. This is the hidden law. That explains why two people can say the same phrase, but only one sees transformation. The difference is not the phrase, it is the authority behind it. So consider for a moment what scriptures you have been unknowingly writing in your body. What affirmations, repeated silently, have been shaping your biology behind the scenes. Have you been inscribing fear or renewal, weakness or strength, scarcity or abundance? These questions are not abstract. They are keys to the journey you are on. And if this reflection resonates with you, write in the comments, "I am rewriting my story." Because sometimes the first step to change is simply acknowledging that the pen has always been in your hand. Illness has long been framed as a punishment, a cruel stroke of fate, or a mystery with no explanation. But what if the hidden truth is far more direct? That disease is not a sentence imposed from outside, but the body's loyal obedience to the distorted language of the mind. Fear, doubt, despair, when repeated often enough, are not just passing moods. They become commands. The body listens, translates those vibrations into chemistry, and executes them with precision. What we often call sickness may simply be the outcome of instructions unconsciously given. A biological script written by words and beliefs that weaken instead of strengthen. This shift in perspective is transformative. It removes the image of the body as a betrayer and reveals it instead as a servant, one that responds faithfully to whatever message it receives. If you tell it you are fragile, it will manifest fragility. If you tell it you are broken, it will organize itself around that declaration. But here lies the revelation that changes everything. The same system that carries out destructive orders can also carry out constructive ones. Positive affirmations, especially those spoken with conviction, do not merely lift the mood. They trigger real molecular events. Proteins fold differently. Enzymes activate in alignment. With harmony, hormones are secreted in patterns that sustain health. The impact of a thought becomes biology in motion. Think of the power contained in the words, "I am." They are not empty syllables, but keys that open genetic doors. When you say, "I am healthy," you are not wishing for health. You are instructing your DNA to activate pathways of regeneration. When you affirm, "I am renewed," your nervous system shifts, your immune cells awaken, and your tissues begin to align with that decree. Every phrase that begins with "I am" is a blueprint, a conscious decision that reshapes the architecture of your inner world. This is not metaphor. It is biochemistry woven with consciousness. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because once you recognize that words carry biological weight, you begin to see your daily language as the most consistent form of self-medication. Behind the scenes, each affirmation you repeat builds or dismantles cellular programs. It is like programming a vast computer. The commands you type in are executed without judgment. The subconscious does not filter whether the input is helpful or harmful. It only obeys. And that obedience becomes the hidden script of your life. This is why careless language is so impactful. A simple, "I'm always tired," said often enough becomes more than an expression. It becomes a directive. A phrase like, "Nothing ever works for me," is recorded, translated into chemistry, and repeated until it feels like truth. But when you shift your script, when you start engraving affirmations of vitality, clarity, and strength, you discover the body is just as ready to follow those orders. Regeneration is not a miracle in the sense of rarity. It is a miracle in the sense of design. Your biology was built to obey transformation whenever you give it the right instructions. Every journey of healing, then, begins not with external remedies, but with the courage to listen to what you've been saying to yourself all along, to change. The language is to change the outcome. And if this resonates with you, leave a simple phrase in the comments. "I am ready to reprogram my body." Sometimes, that small act of declaration is enough to begin rewriting the very script your cells have been waiting for. Every word you speak carries a chemistry of its own. Words of love, gratitude, and compassion purify the blood, softening the flow of life within you, while words of anger, resentment, and hatred act like toxins that poison it. Drop by, drop. Speech is not only vibration, it is biochemistry. What you release into the air returns to you as a molecular reaction, reshaping the environment in which your cells live. Think of your bloodstream as a river. When you speak with harmony, the waters run clear, nourishing every organ. But when your words are sharp and heavy, it is as though that same river becomes polluted, forcing your body to swim against a current that was never meant to be hostile. This hidden truth explains why some people seem to radiate health even in difficult conditions, while others deteriorate quickly under the weight of inner conflict. Behind the scenes, your body is listening, and the molecules that sustain your life are taking notes. The immune system, the nervous system, even your hormonal balance, all of them tune themselves to the frequency of your most repeated language. A single harsh phrase may not alter much, but repetition engraves. Consistency chisels. When affirmations of fear or limitation are echoed daily, the subconscious begins to treat them as law, scripting them into your biology as if they were permanent instructions. But the opposite is just as true. When words of renewal and harmony are spoken again and again with conviction, they begin to carve pathways of health and resilience into the very fabric of your being. Join me by subscribing, and let's continue uncovering the revelations that shape our mindset and our inner world. This is why repetition is so powerful. It is not about forcing yourself to believe in something instantly. It is about engraving. Just as water dripping on stone can eventually carve a canyon, steady affirmations reshape the subconscious, and through it, the body itself. The process may seem invisible at first, but beneath the surface, genetic codes are being awakened, proteins are folding differently, enzymes are activating in new rhythms, and the entire system is adjusting to the new script. It is transformation unfolding, quietly, yet with profound impact. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because repetition is more than a practice. It is a ritual of alignment. Every time you affirm, you are making a decision, reinforcing a mindset, choosing a direction for your energy to flow. This is the true journey of self-mastery, realizing that your biology is not an enemy to conquer, but an ally to guide. The subconscious mind cannot distinguish between imagination and reality. It only responds to the intensity and consistency of the message it receives. That is why the affirmations you choose become the architecture of your future health. They are not wishes, they are blueprints. So consider what you are repeating to yourself daily, consciously or unconsciously. Are you rehearsing despair, or are you rehearsing vitality? Are you engraving fatigue, or engraving renewal? These subtle decisions, multiplied over days and weeks, create the atmosphere in which your cells either wither or thrive. And if this reflection resonates with you, write in the comments, "My words are my medicine," because with that acknowledgement, you begin to step into the authority that has been yours all along. There was once a story of a person who carried constant pain in the knee, a weight that medicine alone seemed unable to dissolve. Instead of repeating the language of despair, they began to bless that knee, not once, not timidly, but with persistence and a deep sense of reverence. Each word was not an empty hope, but a declaration carved with authority, almost as if the body were a child waiting for the parent's firm, yet loving command. Over time, that joint, once rigid and inflamed, responded. Cells reorganized, circulation improved, and the pain that had been a daily companion simply dissolved. This was not magic in the sense of fantasy, but the natural unfolding of a hidden truth. The body listens to conviction. What shifted was not the tissue itself at first, but the vibration surrounding it. When the language of blessing replaced the language of complaint, the atmosphere of the body transformed. Every blessing was like light falling into dark corners, clearing away the emotional residue that kept the cells trapped in dysfunction. Behind the scenes, proteins and enzymes began responding differently, aligning with the new narrative being spoken over them. What this example teaches us is that the body does not respond to half-hearted phrases. It demands authority, the kind of authority born from inner certainty. Just as a leader cannot inspire trust by doubting their own words, your biology will not mobilize its forces without the conviction that you mean what you say. This is where many people falter. They attempt affirmations as if reciting poetry without feeling. The words roll off the tongue but do not penetrate the heart, and so the body receives them as background noise. True reprogramming begins when the words carry weight, when they are infused with faith so undeniable that every cell can feel the pulse of intention behind them. The body obeys clarity, not confusion. It follows commands rooted in a mindset of power, not whispers of uncertainty. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because the way you speak to your body is more than a technique. It is a relationship. Imagine your cells as countless workers awaiting instructions. If you issue commands with doubt, they hesitate, unsure of which path to take. But when your words come with unshakable decision, with the energy of someone who knows the outcome is already written, they move in harmony, carrying out the program with precision. This is why healing through language is not passive. It is a journey of transformation that requires presence, intention, and unwavering consistency. When you understand this, every conversation with yourself becomes sacred. Blessing your body is no longer an occasional act, but a constant dialogue of alignment. You begin to realize that the true authority over your biology was never external. It has always resided within you, waiting for you to claim it. And if this resonates with you right now, put down in the comments, "I command with faith," because in doing so, you remind yourself that your words are not mere sounds, but living codes that rewrite reality. When Jesus spoke of moving mountains, most interpreted it as a metaphor for external challenges. Yet the hidden truth is that those words echo in the smallest realms of existence. The mountain is not only the obstacle out there in the world, but also the weight within, the hardened beliefs, the illnesses, the genetic patterns that seem immovable. His teaching was not poetry, it was instruction, a direct revelation that faith, when spoken with certainty, carries the vibration strong enough to reorganize matter at its root. Just as mountains are formed by pressure and time, so too are the barriers within the body. And just as pressure shapes stone, intention reshapes biology. Imagine the impact of realizing that your voice, aligned with faith, can issue commands as profound as any miracle recorded in sacred texts. This is not exaggeration, it is the hidden architecture of creation. Atoms, cells, tissues, they do not resist authority spoken with conviction. They realign, they respond, they reorganize because energy precedes form. What appears solid is only vibration condensed, and vibration always bends to the strongest frequency it encounters. That frequency is faith, not wishful thinking, but a decision so absolute it leaves no room for contradiction. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because here lies the essence of mastery, the ability to speak not as a beggar requesting healing, but as a sovereign commanding alignment. That is why the affirmation, "Every cell of my body obeys divine word," holds such extraordinary power. It is not just a phrase, it is a decree, a reminder to the subconscious, and a program etched into the genetic script. When repeated daily, with presence, it becomes more than sound. It becomes a pattern of energy that imprints itself on every layer of existence. Each repetition plants seeds, and those seeds sprout into proteins, hormones, and neural pathways aligned with health, strength, and vitality. This is the behind-the-scenes reality of transformation. Consistency carves pathways in the unseen, until the visible world must yield. It is the law of resonance, the same law that causes an entire glass to shatter at a precise note, the same law that governs how thought rearranges matter. And when you embody this law through affirmation, you are not waiting for change. You are generating it, cell by cell, breath by breath. Think of the implications. If words infused with faith can move mountains and rewrite the body's language, then what limits remain? What boundaries could possibly hold once you realize that reality itself is listening to your every command? This is the journey we are invited to walk, not in abstract theory, but in lived experience, where each statement becomes a tool of creation, and every moment is a chance to rewrite destiny. And if this speaks to you, write in the comments, "My cells respond to faith." This simple phrase anchors the awareness that your biology is not against you, it is waiting for you to lead. The subconscious is like fertile soil that never questions what is planted in it. It does not separate truth from jest or sincerity from sarcasm. Every word, no matter how lightly spoken, is a seed dropped into this invisible field, and once there, it germinates. This is why the casual phrases repeated daily, "I'm always tired," "Nothing ever works for me," "I can't change," become invisible chains, binding a person to cycles they do not even realize they are reinforcing. The body listens as faithfully as a servant, obeying each command as if it were law, even when the words were spoken without awareness. This hidden truth explains why transformation requires a shift not only in the dramatic declarations but in the everyday dialogue, the behind-the-scenes language whispered under the breath or thought silently in passing. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because when we turn our attention to the DNA, we discover that it is far more than a set of biological instructions. It is a living library, a vast archive where every strand contains not only the blueprint of the body, but also layers of spiritual memory. Within its spirals reside the echoes of ancestors, the stories of survival, the imprints of ancient fears, and the potential for higher states of being that have not yet been activated. Science has begun to confirm that DNA is not static, not a rigid script carved in stone, but a responsive code that interacts with thoughts, emotions, and environment. What was once dismissed as junk is now being re-examined as dormant intelligence, a storage of possibilities waiting to be unlocked. Think of the impact of this realization. The words you speak and the emotions you nurture are not just floating in the air. They are shaping the way this library is accessed. It is as if your affirmations are like keys, opening certain volumes while closing others. Fear keeps entire wings of this library locked, while love, faith, and conviction illuminate shelves that had been hidden in shadow. This is why intention matters so profoundly. Each declaration is not simply a statement. It is an act of authorship, rewriting passages in a book that responds only to the pen of consciousness. Subscribe now and keep this flow of discoveries alive. Every video brings another layer behind the scenes of our own transformation. The journey becomes one of reclaiming authorship over this sacred manuscript. Instead of unconsciously repeating phrases that degrade vitality, one begins to craft sentences of renewal, healing, and awakening. The subconscious does not debate, it only records. And once recorded, the DNA listens, adjusting the body's chemistry, energy, and alignment to match the command. This is the quiet power working behind the scenes of every human experience, and it is available to anyone willing to take responsibility for the words they plant in themselves. Imagine if every careless phrase was replaced with a conscious affirmation. Imagine the shift if, instead of dismissing oneself with words of lack, one began to unlock the hidden potential coded within. This is the transformation that turns biology into spirituality, genetics into revelation, and ordinary speech into the language of creation. And if you feel this truth stirring within, leave a comment with the phrase, "I choose my words with power." By doing so, you affirm that you are ready to step into authorship of your own living library. Imagination is not a mere escape from reality. It is the architect behind the scenes, drafting blueprints that the body then interprets as instruction. When you vividly see something in your mind, you are not just entertaining a thought, you are issuing a directive. The subconscious does not distinguish between what is imagined and what is experienced. It receives the image as if it were already truth, and from there, the body begins its work of alignment. This is why visualizing health, abundance, or peace is not daydreaming, it is programming. It is the conscious decision to design reality from the inside out, planting visions that carry molecular consequences. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because here lies a hidden truth often overlooked. Many of the so-called miracles of healing throughout history were not interruptions of natural law but demonstrations of it. When someone shifted the picture they held within themselves, their DNA responded as though the command had come from the highest authority. The change in inner imagery rewrote genetic expression, and the body simply obeyed. Science calls it neuroplasticity or epigenetic modification, while spiritual traditions describe it as faith or divine intervention. But the core mechanism is the same. Imagination, aligned with belief, activates dormant codes and awakens possibilities that had been sealed away. Think about the impact of this revelation. If imagination can reprogram the body, then every image entertained has consequences. A person who constantly sees themselves as fragile, unlucky, or unworthy engraves that reality into their cells, while one who envisions vitality, joy, and strength calls forth a different set of Instructions from the same genetic library. This is not about denying reality, but about understanding that reality itself is more flexible than it appears. What is held in mind long enough, with enough intensity and conviction, becomes embodied. It is the journey from thought to matter, from invisible vision to tangible transformation. Behind the scenes of every healing story lies this same dynamic. A new image takes root, and the body follows. Sometimes it happens through prayer, sometimes through meditation, and sometimes through an unshakable decision born out of desperation. The common thread is not the ritual but the shift in inner vision, the moment when the old picture of limitation collapses, and a new one, vibrant with possibility, takes its place. This is why the most profound changes often begin in silence, in the theater of the mind where no one else can see what is being rehearsed, yet everything about the future is already being shaped. The imagination, then, is not childish fantasy. It is the steering wheel of destiny. Those who dismiss it as unreal unknowingly surrender control, letting unconscious fears and borrowed images from others dictate the path. But those who recognize its authority step into authorship of their own experience, rewriting genetic expression through conscious vision. And if this insight resonates with you, write in the comments, "I see with clarity." By doing so, you acknowledge the quiet but immense power of the images you choose to hold within. When a prayer is spoken with intention, it is not just words released into the air. It is a current of vibration flowing directly into the blueprint of life. Each syllable carries weight, and when infused with conviction, it strikes chords within the DNA, stirring dormant notes that wait for their cue to awaken. This is why a genetic activation prayer is described as more than a ritual. It is a precise instruction, an imprint of divine light etched into the very script of existence. Health, creativity, vitality, all of these states are already encoded within, like hidden chapters sealed away, and prayer becomes the key that unseals them. It is not about begging for something external to arrive, but about commanding the inner architecture to reveal what has always been there, waiting for permission to unfold. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because here lies a hidden truth that reshapes the way we view healing and transformation. One prayer alone, no matter how powerful, is like a single stroke of the sculptor's chisel. It begins the process, but does not complete it. Constancy is what shapes, persistence is what engraves, and repetition is what ensures that the new pattern holds firm against the pull of the old. Just as a river carves valleys not through force but through unwavering flow, so too does consistent intention carve new grooves into the subconscious and body. This is why daily alignment matters more than sporadic bursts of inspiration. It is the steady rhythm that reshapes matter. Behind the scenes of every transformation story you've ever heard lies this principle. It is not only the breakthrough moment that matters, but the countless quiet repetitions before and after it. Every affirmation, every prayer, every image held faithfully is a drop of water falling in the same place, shaping the stone until the hidden form emerges. Science would describe it as neuroplasticity or epigenetic signaling, while spirituality would name it devotion or faith in action, but the essence remains the same. Repetition is the bridge between imagination and embodiment. Think of the impact this understanding has on decisions. If the body obeys constancy, then every moment becomes a choice of direction. Words carelessly repeated plant weeds, while words consciously chosen cultivate gardens. It is not about perfection, but about persistence, showing up again and again with clarity, with the mindset of one who knows the seed must sprout if it is watered long enough. This is the hidden truth of transformation. It is rarely instantaneous, but it is always cumulative. Every whisper of intention leaves a mark, and over time, those marks rewrite destiny itself. And this is where the journey takes on a new dimension. Because consistency does not just engrave health into the body, it opens doors of creativity, vision, and unseen potential that ripple far beyond biology. The DNA is not only a map of survival, but a library of possibility, and each repeated word of light is like a key unlocking corridors never before explored. To those who feel this truth resonate, write in the comments, "Constancy shapes me." That phrase alone carries the essence of this path, where persistence becomes the sculptor of both body and soul. Every organ in the human body carries within it a vibration, a secret tone that echoes in silence, waiting to be attuned. The heart responds to the resonance of love, the liver expands under the influence of peace, the lungs breathe deeper when hope is present, and the kidneys find strength in trust. It is as if we are made of invisible strings, and each thought or spoken word plucks them into melody or dissonance. When we carry resentment, the sound turns heavy. When we embrace compassion, harmony returns, and the music of life flows effortlessly once again. This is not just poetic imagery, but a biological symphony, where hormones, neurotransmitters, and immune cells follow the rhythm dictated by the emotional score we allow to play. Now I want to go even deeper into this topic because understanding the hidden truth behind resonance unveils how healing actually begins. A mantra is more than repetition. It is a tuning fork that strikes the organ with its original sound, reminding it of the state it was designed to embody. Just as an out-of-tune piano string can be realigned when struck against the correct frequency, so too can cells reorganize themselves when they encounter a word that matches their divine blueprint. This is why certain affirmations feel different when spoken aloud. They are not merely mental, they are vibrational, and the body recognizes them as homecoming calls. By subscribing, you stay connected to a space where words, faith, and knowledge become tools of change. Behind the scenes of transformation, language becomes music, and music becomes medicine. Think of the impact this awareness can have. Instead of waging war against symptoms, one learns to restore. The orchestra. Healing is no longer about fighting, but about retuning, rebalancing, bringing the instruments back to their natural harmony. This shift in mindset is revolutionary because it dissolves the idea of the body as an enemy and reveals it as a partner waiting to be directed with clarity and care. The words we choose are not neutral. They carry voltage, frequency, and resonance. When we speak in alignment, we awaken the conductor within. The journey of self-healing, then, is not about imposing power but about rediscovering rhythm. It is about recognizing that fatigue, pain, or illness often arise when an instrument has been silenced or forced into a discordant song. By giving voice again to love, to peace, to truth, we remind the body of its forgotten notes, and regeneration follows as a natural consequence. The hidden truth is that the body always seeks harmony. It only needs the right vibration to remember its way back. And this opens the door to revelations few dare to explore. What if the greatest medicine has always been resonance? And what if the most powerful healer has always been the word? Imagine the impact of living with this awareness, speaking not casually but consciously, transforming each phrase into a note of alignment. To anchor this reflection, write in the comments, "My body remembers harmony." This phrase alone becomes an affirmation, a first strike of the tuning fork, preparing the inner symphony to return to its divine rhythm. When words of complaint leave the lips, they don't simply vanish into the air. They enter the bloodstream like shadows that corrupt the light. Resentment has a taste, a vibration, a weight that presses into the organs and forces them to play in minor keys. The stomach grows heavy, the liver grows bitter, the heart grows restless, and the body, once designed to flow with vitality, begins to suffocate under the echo of poisoned language. It is not an exaggeration to say that the chemistry of our blood listens attentively to the chemistry of our words. Every phrase, every complaint, every sigh becomes a chemical signal, instructing cells either to thrive or to decay. Behind the scenes of illness, there is often not only environment or genetics, but also a silent script written by daily words that, repeated over time, condition the body into dissonance. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because understanding the hidden truth of faith reveals why so many healings considered miraculous are, in fact, natural consequences of an inner shift. Faith is not only a spiritual idea, it is a biochemical event. When someone truly believes in recovery, in possibility, In transformation, their body responds as if those realities were already alive. Hormones associated with trust and hope flood the system, immune cells awaken, and the nervous system stops vibrating with panic and begins to vibrate with coherence. Belief changes posture, breathing, even the way light reflects in the eyes, and that subtle transformation is enough to alter the language of cells. Think of it as the difference between a command shouted in fear and one spoken with certainty. The body does not obey doubt, but it responds with extraordinary precision to conviction. This is why prayer, affirmation, or blessing works only when the words carry authority, not authority derived from force, but from alignment. The DNA, the organs, the blood, none of these follow half-hearted commands. They awaken when they feel the pulse of certainty, when the words are not spoken as a wish, but as a truth already unfolding. This is the secret of impact that ancient teachers guarded so closely. The awareness that faith was not abstract, but physical, a fire that turned thought into chemistry, chemistry into rhythm, and rhythm into healing. Behind every story of regeneration, there lies a hidden decision, the choice to speak not from the wound, but from the possibility of wholeness. And this is where mindset reveals its real power, because to live with faith is to tune every organ to the frequency of restoration. It is to choose, again and again, words that build rather than destroy, that purify rather than poison, that heal rather than divide. As you let this reflection echo inside, I want to invite you to anchor it with a phrase in the comments: "My words create my chemistry." By writing it, you're not only reflecting but activating a truth that the body has been waiting to remember. Science, in its quest to dissect mysteries, stumbled upon something extraordinary: the placebo effect. Doctors once thought it was a trick of the mind, a quirk of suggestion, but behind the scenes it revealed something far more profound. When someone believes they are receiving medicine, their body releases the very chemicals that mirror the drug's action. Faith alone activates the inner pharmacy, releasing endorphins, regulating immune cells, and harmonizing neurotransmitters. What is often dismissed as illusion is in fact the hidden truth that the mind can summon chemistry at will, that conviction transforms invisible thought into tangible molecules that repair and restore. This isn't magic. It is a revelation of how belief reaches into the deepest layers of the body and orchestrates healing with the precision of a master conductor. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because if faith can mimic medicine, imagine what happens when words are spoken with deliberate authority. The glands of the endocrine system, the thyroid, the pancreas, the pituitary, are like sacred instruments, each responsible for releasing the hormones that regulate balance and vitality. Stress floods them with chaos, but affirmations spoken with focus can retune them, like tightening the strings of a forgotten instrument until it sings again. A phrase as simple as, "My body aligns with divine harmony," is not just poetry, it is instruction. The spoken word becomes the tuning fork, vibrating through the glands, stabilizing their rhythm, and returning them to coherence. The pituitary, often called the master gland, responds as though hearing a command from its rightful conductor, and the entire hormonal orchestra begins to follow suit. The thyroid eases into calm, regulating metabolism with steadiness rather than panic. The pancreas listens and remembers its natural flow, balancing sugar and energy with a grace that medication often tries to mimic. When this alignment occurs, the body feels not only restored but transformed. The mind clears, emotions stabilize, and even decisions once clouded by fatigue or confusion become illuminated. This is why transformation always begins with language. It is the invisible hand behind the biological curtain, the code that awakens the sleeping potential within. Such revelations remind us that the border between spiritual truth and scientific fact is thinner than we think. Every affirmation is an act of programming, every word a choice that sets into motion either harmony or discord. To practice this daily is to recognize that we are never merely victims of biology, but participants in its design. And if you've been following this journey with an open heart, let this sink in as a seed. Write in the comments the phrase, I align my body with harmony, and let it become the declaration your cells have been waiting to hear. There is a reason why ancient traditions and even modern psychology place such emphasis on the final moments before sleep. When the conscious mind softens its grip and the noise of the day fades, the subconscious rises like a silent guardian, absorbing every whisper and carrying it deep into the unseen corridors of memory and biology. Nighttime prayer, spoken with calm conviction just before drifting into rest, is not merely a ritual of comfort. It becomes the most direct dialogue between your essence and your cells. At that threshold, when you are neither fully awake nor fully gone into dreams, words slip past the filters of doubt and imprint themselves where the body remembers. This is the hidden truth behind why so many transformations are born not in the activity of the day, but in the stillness of night. Sleep becomes a sacred temple, a space where affirmations act as architects, guiding cellular repair with the precision of divine instruction. Imagine telling your body, "I am whole, I am renewed, I am aligned," and watching, in the unseen workshop of your being, proteins fold correctly, tissues knit back together, and hormones recalibrate as if obeying the blueprint of those words. What you plant before bed blooms in the quiet garden of your biology, and when morning comes, you wake not only refreshed, but subtly altered. This process is not fantasy. It is the behind-the-scenes mechanism through which prayer, belief, and imagination merge with physiology. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because understanding this changes the way we approach every night. Most people slip into sleep carrying the residue of complaints, fear, or unresolved tension, and without realizing it, they hand those vibrations over to their subconscious, which works tirelessly through the night to reinforce them. The impact is invisible but profound. Dreams entangled in unease, a body that repairs less efficiently, a mind that wakes with heaviness instead of clarity. But when you make a decision to feed the mind with affirmations of light, before closing your eyes, you redirect the entire journey of your rest. Sleep transforms into alignment, a journey not just of recovery, but of creation. This is where revelation turns practical. Nighttime is not passive. It is an active collaboration between your intention and your biology. It is the ultimate reminder that transformation does not only happen in the doing, but in the being, in the surrender to a rhythm greater than yourself. And if you've ever felt the subtle shift after a night where you fell asleep in peace and woke with clarity, you've touched the edge of this truth. To let it anchor deeper, write in the comments the phrase, "My night plants my healing," and let those words begin to shape the language your cells will carry into dawn. Every scar, whether visible on the skin or hidden deep within, is more than a mark of survival. It is a chapter of memory etched into the tissues. The body does not forget. Each cut, each burn, each wound carries with it not only the story of the event, but the emotions that surrounded it. Fear, pain, grief, or even shame. Science often explains scars as the body's attempt to seal damage quickly, laying down fibers as a protective patch. But behind the scenes of biology lies another truth. The subconscious inscribes meaning into those tissues, storing unresolved memories like whispers frozen in flesh. That is why a scar can sometimes ache long after it has healed, why a faint line on the skin can still carry the weight of the past. And yet, within this same reality lives the seed of transformation. Just as trauma can be archived, it can also be rewritten. The hidden truth is that tissue, like memory, is not fixed. It is plastic, capable of reorganization when guided by intention and word. A prayer of tissue renewal spoken with faith and persistence becomes more than poetry. It becomes an instruction. The vibration of love directed toward a scar carries frequencies that awaken dormant cells, signaling that the story once carved there no longer needs to define the body. With time, the fibers begin to reorganize, not always erasing the mark, but softening its energy, transforming what once symbolized pain into a testament of rebirth. This is not wishful thinking, but a process mirrored in both ancient teachings and modern observations. Studies of neuroplasticity show that memory itself can be restructured by new associations and tissue responds in the same way. When the mindset shifts, when affirmations of healing replace the silent repetitions of resentment or self-criticism, the body listens. Scars then become thresholds, reminders that the past has impact, but the present has greater authority. What once was a frozen echo of trauma can be turned into a living reminder of resilience, a marker of decisions made to walk forward, not remain bound to yesterday. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because this principle stretches far beyond skin and tissue. It reveals that the body itself is a journal, constantly writing and rewriting its story, depending on the language it receives. Every word spoken over your body is ink that seeps into its pages, guiding the narrative of your health and your spirit. If you've ever felt the shift in meaning when you looked at a scar and chose to see strength instead of loss, then you've glimpsed this secret. To let that insight root even deeper, write in the comments the phrase, "My scars tell of rebirth," and allow those words to begin shaping the new story your body longs to live. The immune system, often described in biology books as a network of cells and proteins, is far more than a mechanical defense. It is a conscious army, listening attentively to the signals it receives from the mind and spirit. Imagine every white blood cell as a soldier, not only patrolling for intruders but also responding to the tone of command that echoes from within. When the inner voice is rooted in fear, hesitation, or despair, those soldiers lower their shields, becoming sluggish, as if paralyzed by uncertainty. But when the soul speaks with conviction, when the language of faith is clear and unwavering, those same soldiers rise with renewed strength, mobilizing in perfect order. It is as though the immune system itself recognizes authority in the vibrations of belief. This hidden truth has been quietly confirmed in countless observations. People who maintain hope, gratitude, and a strong mindset often recover faster, resist illness more effectively, and live with greater vitality. Behind the scenes of physiology, words, and thoughts shape the terrain where health either flourishes or falters. Affirmations spoken consistently act like marching orders, reminding the body that it is safe, that it is resilient, that it is designed not just to survive, but to regenerate. And the impact is not symbolic, it is measurable. Hormones shift, antibodies multiply, and the internal chemistry recalibrates to mirror the trust placed in life itself. On the other hand, fear acts as a silent saboteur. It infiltrates like an invisible toxin, commanding the immune system to stand down, to retreat even before the battle begins. Stress hormones flood the body, weakening defenses, creating openings for imbalance and disease. The irony is striking. Often it is not the external threat that has the greatest impact, but the inner decision to either feed fear or nurture faith. Each moment becomes a crossroads, where mindset directs biology, where the soul whispers either paralysis or empowerment into the bloodstream. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because the immune system is not only reactive to thoughts, it is also capable of learning from them, just like memory. Every repetition of faith builds an imprint, training the inner army to respond faster and stronger. This is why prayers and affirmations are not one-time gestures, but ongoing practices, sculpting resilience into the very cells of the body. If you have ever felt your energy surge after choosing courage over worry, then you have already witnessed this truth unfolding within you. To anchor this insight even further, write in the comments the phrase, "My faith is my shield," and let those words become a reminder that your defenses are listening, ready to obey the authority of your belief. The glands of the body, often spoken of as simple regulators of hormones, are in truth like a choir waiting for the conductor's hand. Each one carries a tone, a vibration, a precise function, but without guidance they can fall into dissonance, producing confusion instead of harmony. Words of light, order, and peace are the baton that unites them. When spoken with conviction, they realign the pituitary, the thyroid, the adrenals, the pancreas, each one taking its place in a divine melody that sustains balance. Imagine the bloodstream as the air through which this music travels, carrying signals of serenity or discord, depending on the frequency you choose to release. The hidden truth is that the Human body is not only a biological machine, but an orchestra of intelligence, where the spirit writes the score through thought and voice. Behind the scenes of daily life, many suffer not because the body has failed them, but because the inner conductor has gone silent, leaving the choir unguided. Stress, resentment, and negative speech act like broken notes, distorting what was meant to be a perfect song. Yet the moment one decides to speak differently, to affirm peace, order, and renewal, the choir hears the call and adjusts, producing a resonance that heals, restores, and empowers. This is not merely poetic, it is the physics of biology. Every gland secretes according to the vibration it perceives, and those secretions determine whether life flows with clarity or with chaos. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because it is here that the revelations become transformative. Health, prosperity, and abundance are not isolated blessings dropped from the outside. They are natural consequences of alignment. When thoughts, words, and faith converge in a single direction, they set into motion laws that cannot fail. Cells respond, tissues regenerate, opportunities unfold, and life begins to mirror the harmony cultivated within. The spirit is the true master, and the body, with all its complexity, is nothing more than a loyal servant awaiting its command. This is the impact of conscious creation, the realization that destiny is not imposed, but composed, like a melody, played into existence by the authority of inner belief. Every cell listens, every gland awaits, every system obeys. The question is not whether they will respond, but which command you are giving them now. If your inner voice is clouded with doubt, they echo hesitation. If it is filled with certainty, they echo power. This is why every decision in thought becomes a decision in flesh, why every hidden truth spoken aloud reshapes not only your biology, but also the circumstances that surround you. The journey of transformation begins not with external change, but with the courage to direct the orchestra from within. And if these words have touched something deep in you, let it take root by writing in the comments the phrase, "My spirit conducts the symphony," so that the reminder remains alive in your heart, guiding you as your own conductor in the music of life. And if you've arrived with me all the way here, it tells me something, that this message resonated with you at a deeper level. That's exactly why I'd love for you to stay connected, because every new video we share builds on this same journey of clarity, healing, and transformation. Subscribing is simply a way of keeping this flow alive, so that each time we meet here, you find something valuable waiting for you. And since you've stayed with me until the very end, write in the comments, "I'm with you until the end." That way I'll know this seed truly reached fertile ground. If this reflection touched you, leave a like. It's a small gesture, but it strengthens the bond we've been weaving through these words. And right now there's a video here that complements this one beautifully. Click and continue with me over there, so the journey doesn't pause, it just flows into the next step.